My name's Olivia and I was born with a vision impairment, and I didn't use a mobility aid in my childhood because I had enough vision to sort of safely get around and not run into things. When I was about 12 years old, I lost the vision I had and I started using a long cane, which was great all through high school and as I started university and things like that. But when I was in my early 20s, I decided it was maybe time to consider getting a guide dog and use a mobility aid that would give me a bit more independence than the long cane. I definitely remember the day I met Jemima for the first time. Very vividly. I had received a phone call the week before saying, "We think we have a dog that's a match for you." And I found out nothing except that she was female and that, I would be meeting her the following week. And I was very, very nervous, very nervous. An instructor brought her around to my place to see if her speed was right for me, if, we sort of seemed to get along. So we did that, just a little walk around my local area, and everyone seemed very happy with how it went. And were happy to sign off on the match. And then I remember Jemima and I just had a bit of, time on the floor, just hanging out, giving pats, and I don't think I gave any cuddles. I was still very nervous about having a dog. Yeah, and we just got to know each other a little bit. It was only a couple of hours and everything was signed off on, and then I think 2 weeks later we started training as a team. There's no doubt about that she has definitely changed my life. I'm a lot happier and more confident to go somewhere I've never been before alone, whereas I was quite a timid traveller with the long cane and not so happy to just get in there and go somewhere I'd never been. And that allows me to take on work in different places and not having to rely on other people travelling with me. I don't think I ever thought I could do it as easily as I can do it now that I've got her, beside me. I was used to walking around with a long cane, which would, hit obstacles, and then it would be my job to, navigate around them and find my way. But so a lot of the training was getting used to Jemima being in charge of all of that, finding obstacles and making her way around them before I, could even register they're there. Being able to move quickly and safely and confidently through busy places or complicated places is something that takes a lot of getting used to, and it took a while, but it's amazing now. One pretty intense moment was at Flinders Street Station, and I miscalculated something and I was heading right towards the edge of the platform, and Jemima just stood in front of me and would not budge. And I was like, "Jem, why have you stopped?" I thought, oh, she must be, sniffing something or whatever. And a staff member from the station came up to me and said, "Oh, could you just step back for me? You're right next to the edge." So she, basically put herself really in danger right on the edge of the platform to make sure that I would not step any further. When I think back on that, I think, wow, that's just so unbelievable almost. And I get really emotional. So that was a big moment, and I think that proves the amount of trust that, and the relationship we have. I don't know what the future looks like, but it looks like whatever I want it to, because having Jemima with me means I'm not limited in the choices I can make about what I want to do with my life.